35-year career in both government and industry. How does this help you?
Well, I kind of look back at my career as being on a National Geographic's educational scholarship tour.
Yes.
I approached my career with just an inquisitive mind, whether it was in the former U.S. Navy or in my government service or later in my time with KBR. And I think having an inquisitive mind allows you to ask a lot of questions and see opportunities that maybe other people don't see just because you have an inquisitive mind. But I think the diversity of that background is what has added to Peregrine's strength today.
So the Peregrine is a knowledge management company. In that sense, knowledge is truly power.
Knowledge is power, and there used to be a saying that knowledge is power if you held it. Actually, ironically, knowledge is much more powerful when you share knowledge. Shared knowledge is power. Shared knowledge in the sense that there are investors out there who are looking for the right investment. There are projects out there that are looking for the right investor. But it is a sharing of that knowledge that brings together the really good opportunities.
Yes, if there are other foreign investors or would-be investors who are watching our program right now, what can you say about the Philippines?
Well, again, I'd encourage them to read the article on A Perfect Storm for the Philippines. But the Philippines is different today because they invested over the last 5 decades in 8.5 million ombudsmen working abroad as OFWs who is the best exchange of lessons learned and best ideas in benchmarking good operations. They've invested in learning the English language and being able to communicate very effectively in the business market. They're on the doorstep of China, and China's going to be problematic to invest in as itself, but you're on the doorsteps. All of those factors come together to say the Philippines is the darling of the investment community going forward.
Wow, the darling of the investment community.
But Mr. Wright, recently there's this logistics or cargo company who is backing up and going to China, and here you are investing heavily in the country. So what is it that you saw as far as the opportunities are concerned that maybe they missed out?
Well, I think when you assess a market, you have to assess history and you have to assess things around it. If you look at the Chinese economy is going to follow Japan and Korea. And if you follow the Japanese and Korean markets, after World War II, Japan had evolved into a country that produced a lot of trinkets. It then evolved into producing clones, and then it evolved into producing name brands that are recognized around the world today. Korea followed that same model. And if you track China, it is following the same model. It went from trinkets to clones to where now they're starting to migrate with the acquisition of IBM, mini computers, starting to evolve into their own name brand. So the Philippine market is not going to be cheap. It is not going to be so easy to operate in, just as Japan and Korea. So therefore you look around and say, well, what market then takes that place? And you look at the other ASEAN countries, Vietnam, Thailand, Malaysia, Indonesia, and the Philippines gets that nod every single time because of your proximity to China and your ability to speak English and a very pro-Western friendly business climate.
Okay, let's zero in on your development site. It's a big chunk of land. We've discussed that before, but you'll when you've completed the initial phase of it, you're going to have to sell it to other multinational companies. So have you made representations? So what has been the response? And now another thing is, what kind of development do we expect to see?
Well, we have been making that campaign, and it's relatively easy when you stop and look at what other international companies have done. There's an old saying, follow the money, or put your money where your mouth is, or show me the beef. And in every case, if you look around, and Hanjin's major investment with the shipyard in Subic, that's a major investment by an international company that knows what they're doing. Texas Instruments with over $1 billion investment also at Clark, who is putting their money where their mouth is. And then, of course, you have KGL Investment Company and Peregrine investing at Clark. So I think the proof is there, and it's very easy when we go out on a roadshow. In fact, over the next 2 weeks, we have a delegation meeting with the Philippine Embassy in the United States, led by your former Ambassador Raul Rabe, going in and promoting Clark with the American business interests. Last week, in fact, when we met, was at the European Chamber of Commerce conference at Clark that we co-hosted with them, promoting it within the European Union. So it is a very easy sell message.
The Philippines is experiencing good figures in the international community where we have a positive growth or GDP, and then we are one of a few countries in Asia or in the world that is not experiencing recession per se. We are actually just experiencing an economic slowdown. So do you take these factors into consideration, or did you take these into consideration when you invested here in our country?
Oh, absolutely. But this investment decision in the country actually started about 4 years ago and monitoring trends in the country. So it is your GDP, which this morning there's an article in the paper talking about a 4% growth. It is the macroeconomics, but your banking community underwent massive reforms also. You have some of the lowest non-performing loan rates in the banking industry internationally. You have strong fundamentals. You have an attractive business community, and you look at all of that, but you also look at domestic spending. And you look at the contributions of your remittances from the OFWs that is really not going down at all, and the demand for OFWs continues to be very strong. So we look at all of that to make the decision that says that the Philippines is the right market to be in.
Okay. Mr. Wright, before we go, we discussed this before, and you told me that the Peregrine was about sort of spreading the risk, meaning to say not investing in the traditional markets. You also mentioned that, well, the Kuwaitis, your investors wanted to invest elsewhere because of the ongoing situation. Nobody wants to have, all their investment, all their capital in one market, or they may, because when that market tanks, you go down with it. So, do you see more investments in non-traditional markets?
Absolutely. Two keys. It's important for the investor to diversify, and it's equally important for a country like the Philippines attracting investors to have diversified investments. It's important for the Philippines to have diverse investments from Korea, China, Japan, the U.S., and Middle East, because where one economy slows down, it doesn't affect the country as greatly. Similarly, for an investor to diversify his investment portfolio, he reduces his risk or he spreads his risk. So diversification, in our mind, has to be balanced with smart investments.
Thank you very much, Mr. Wright, for being our live guest this morning, for making your way through the traffic.
Yes.
To be our guest this
Coming
morning.
over to the National Broadcasting Network. Thank you very much once more to the President and Chief Executive Officer of Peregrine, a knowledge management company, Mr. Dennis Wright.
Thank you very much. Thank you for inviting me. Thank
And
you.
as Filipinos
Thank
say,
you.
mabuhay ka.
Thank you very much.
Mabuhay. At marami pa pong balita ang aming hatid sa pagbabalik ng Money Matters.